grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. Everybody! He marched them up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. Even Garstein. When they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down.
Hello everyone, I'm Piper. Welcome back to the first journey. This is the final game of the league season. They're not the final game of the season. We've got the cup final after this one. But we'll get to the games in a minute. I want to start off with what should really be an exciting screen in most saves. But unfortunately, at York, our facilities are quite poor. So this is probably the second year in a row now where the youth intake hasn't been particularly exciting. There's only really two players you can see of note. Lamar Paulwell, who, similar to last year, has a couple of nice good stats in some places, but has some major weaknesses that are possibly going to hold him back. He seems to be a better defender than he does a centre midfielder, personally, in my opinion. The problem he's going to have is his physicals. Obviously, he's only 16, so they could get better. Well, they will get better. And if he's going to succeed, they have to. But yeah, some of these stats aren't too great. But, you never know, do you? And the second player is Declan Smith, who is apparently a centre midfielder. Again, nice stats. Stamina horrendous. That's really bad. And unfortunately, he's unambitious. Lamar Paulwell was fairly professional, which I like. But it's disappointing to still have unambitious or unprofessional players because, I changed my head of youth development. Actually, I think I didn't. I think I had a choice between professional and balanced, but this guy's stats were just nicer. So, I don't know, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I should have gone for the professional. Maybe that was more important than the balance. But, oh well. Our facilities are really bad anyway, so I don't think we've got a good youth intake in York. So, I can't imagine, at least for the short term, this getting any better. So moving on to transfers. The transfer window for non-leagues ended in March at some point. We didn't do too much in the window. We didn't have to. Obviously, we've won the league. We're in the cup final. Obviously, I wasn't going to be too egregious in signing players. I have, on a permanent now, signed Callum Jones. Quite a lot of money for him, 175k, but he's just so important to our team, and there was a lot of championship teams looking at him. So I wanted to get him now. I didn't want to let him run out of contract and then maybe have to fight against, I think, like Millwall and Stoke wanted him as well. And I was like, what's a more interesting destination? The Championship at Stoke, potentially fighting for the playoffs, or, in League Two. I guess I could have argued that, he'd get more game time with me, but I wanted to sign him now before it became a contract race. Also, I presume that they could have offered him more money than we could have, so it would have been harder. So I paid a lot of money for him. He's only valued at 4.7k. Well, when I looked at him, he was, I think, valued at 80k, so that's why. I think they wanted 300k for him, so I got them down a little bit. Probably could have done more, but oh well. And the other transfer news is Jamie Insal is leaving us for 15 grand. The weird thing about this was I offered him to clubs for 10 grand. Nobody wanted him. I then offered him to clubs at an unspecified price, and someone's bid 15 grand for him. So fair dues. He's going to be quite a lot off the wage bill at the end of the year, so that's good. He's been a decent player for me, but he doesn't think he's good enough to play at this level, ironically. So that's why he's going to Exeter, who are, in a higher division, I believe. I think they're in League Two. Yeah, League Two. The second. So they're going to be in League One. He doesn't think he's good enough to play in the National League, so naturally he moves to League One. Well, probably going to get promoted to League One. Technically, they might still fail. They should, though. Unless they lose both games. If they get a draw, maybe 2 draws or 1 win, they're promoted. Anyway, so yeah, not too much news in the transfer window. Moving on then to the schedule. Where did we finish off? I believe it was Yeovil. Obviously, the 0-0 draw. Not the most exciting of games at Yeovil, but yeah, we're through to the final, which we'll play next episode. Then we had another exciting game against Chesterfield. This was 0-0. Let's have a look at what the stats were for this game. They did fantastically. An XG of 0. That's impressive. I don't think I've seen it actually be 0 before. I've seen it like 0.1, where they've had like 1 shot on target, but that's terrible. So yeah, that wasn't a fun game to watch. We obviously should have probably scored one of our chances. That did get me briefly worried that I wasn't going to break some of the records. Good news, we've broken pretty much every record we can. But moving on, then we had this game. There was a clear change of fortunes here. We had 2 4 goals, 2 0-0s, and then a 6, a 4, and a 3, and a 3, and a 2. So yeah, we're all over the place, goal-wise. I do want to show you one of these goals, though, in this game. This was Jack Redshaw pretty much securing top goal scorer. The game of Jack Redshaw, this. Scored 4 goals, if I can count. Yeah, I want to watch. Can I just watch the 4th goal? Will it let me do that? I think it will. It seems to be loading. Oh, it is loading. Maybe. Who knows? The excitement. Will I show you a good goal here? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the goal. Look at this for a finish. Beautiful. Boom. Right? I don't know if you can really get it from that level, but yeah, he did a little back heel through the legs. Beautiful. 10 out of 10 rating for him there. So he's really put me in a predicament of, do I want to keep him for next year or do I not? It's a very tough decision. I don't want to make the same mistake that I made last season where I signed like 15 players and I've barely played some of them and I basically wasted a whole bunch of money on my wage budget and potentially had to deal with very sad players, which I don't want to do again. So I'm thinking this year, rather than perhaps make decisions right now, I'm thinking about leaving it until till the end of, maybe after the Torquay game is when I'll really sit down and have time to figure out who I'm going to buy. I've not signed anyone on pre-contracts yet because a lot of them, what I find is a lot of people don't want to leave because they're still fighting technically for their chance to get a new contract at the Premier League club's youth team, and they're determined to do it and they don't think about leaving until basically they've left. So I've not signed anyone yet and I don't really want to make any decisions on some players such as Harry Bunn and Jack Redshaw on whether they're going to stay or leave. Anyway, got a bit distracted. So yeah, 6-2 against Woking, 4-1 against Sutton. Again, I'm keeping the I'm keeping the rotation up between strikers. This time Jake Young and Gomez doing a good job. Kopsak getting me a goal as well. My young son Casper, who I'm going to be honest, there was a lot of hype for him last year and I feel like I've just not played him. He's got some nice stats and I feel like I haven't let him play a lot and it's probably limited his potential, so I kind of feel bad for him. He does have some under 21 caps though, so maybe maybe I need to maybe be playing a little bit more. And so that was that game. And then we had after these two games I was kind of worried that I was going to lose a clean sheet record, but fortunately we've then kept 3 clean sheets in a row. Wrexham 3-0, Ebbsfleet 3-0 and Halifax 2-0. Before we get into the Torquay game, I guess I'll talk about the league. So we've smashed the points record total. It was 105, we've got it to 111. We've scored more goals than anyone else has done in the history of this league, I believe. And we have more wins now, if we look at the records, actually. Yeah, so most points, we've beat that. Most league wins, we've beat that. For some reason, it hasn't updated that one. And I guess in case we somehow get deducted 20 points or something. Fewest league defeats, we're on course to beat that. If we don't lose this game, we will beat it. We'll set that at 2. Fewest league draws, that was impressive. So he only drew 3 games. I say it's impressive. Obviously, they might have lost a lot of games as well. I think we're also going to beat. What I noticed was the highest average attendance for Notts County is 7.684. I think that we should beat that this year. If we look at our average attendance, which is somewhere on here, average, yeah. So we should beat it are we at home? Don't know if we're at home. If we're at home, yeah, as long as we get good amount of fans in, we'll have that record as well. So records all round for me this season, I feel. And just a quick look then at the current stats, I suppose. Redshaw looks like he's nailed on top goal scorer and potential player to the match. Clean sheets, it was very close in the end, but Bro has won. I have to say I am incredibly impressed by Bro. Obviously 23 clean sheets is half of the games in the league, but as I've mentioned a few times, he hasn't played all the games. He's only played 42 games, so he's kept considerably higher. More than half of his games have been clean sheets. And that's incredibly impressive. Obviously not just for him, impressive on the defence as well. In terms of average rating, it's kind of gone awkward because you've got to play a minimum of 23 games. Russ has played 24, but for some reason he's not on here. But if he was, he'd be in first place because his is 7.4. So yeah, I'm going to give Ross this game. So this is a team that I'm going to play this game. I have made some decisions based on probably maybe nostalgia is the wrong term, but sentiment. I was going to play Jake Young, but I brought Redshaw in. I'm playing Bunn just in case he isn't a big part of next season. McGee and Jones are on. They're all staying. I've put Duckworth on. Hughes is probably my first choice right back, but I'm playing Duckworth. Watkins is in goal for his goodbye. I've put N'Gala on for his goodbye. He was an important player last season. Unfortunately, Matty Brown is injured for 3 weeks, so I can't have like a proper goodbye for him, which is quite sad. I had a look at the bench. Thinking about it, actually, yeah, we'll put Insol on for hhis goodbye. And looking at a few other players, maybe I should play Jeff King. I'm not sure if he's going to play a big part for me next season. Maybe I should. Maybe. I've not made a decision on his contract. He's played really well this year for me. Well, actually, I think he started off really well and he's kind of faded as it's gone on, but I'm going to play Bun just in case he doesn't become my main striker next season. Not striker, winger next season. I don't think there's anyone else I particularly need to talk about. But yeah, big goodbyes this episode to Watkins, Ngala, Insol, and potentially Redshaw, depending on what I choose. And obviously Bun, as mentioned. But Bun could stay. Bun is my first choice. He's a good player, so maybe he can play next year as my first choice, but either way, this is the final game of the league. So yeah, let's see where we go. Not the most exciting first 13 minutes. Obviously after this we have the FA Trophy final, which is going to be the big bang to the end of the season. And that's a pretty good start. Jamie Insol with his goodbye. Redshaw to Insol, potentially the two players who are potentially leaving. Insol definitely leaving, and Redshaw's contract I've not made a decision on yet. He is paid over £1,000, which is a lot in this team. So that's where it's tough, Do I want to sign him again on another £1,000+, make him one of the most highest players in the team, and then just not play him, potentially? But again, it's tough because he scored 30-odd goals this season. So I'm sitting here saying, he's probably not good enough. And at the same time, he's scoring ridiculous amounts of goals. What I should have done, actually, is look at the league. And we can actually see, if there's what other teams are fighting for. I know Maidstone are potentially going to go, well, sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up here at the worst possible time. So Maidstone are basically 3 points ahead in one place above the relegation zone, but when it pops up, I'll actually pause it and just quickly show you rather than try and rush. The goal difference basically makes it so even if Woking win and they lose, it's going to be, unless Woking win by 20 goals, yeah, they're not going down. In terms of the playoff picture, it's between Dover and Aldershot. Aldershot, ironically, are playing Maidstone, and Dover are playing against Halifax. So it looks like the favourite should be Aldershot. So they should be in the playoffs. We have Solihull, Hartlepool. I'm rooting for Hartlepool just for the Harry Bunn connection. So an exciting first half. Torquay there, just having a great account of themselves with 0 shots, and as such, none on target. I suppose they could argue it means they haven't had any shots off target. So, silver linings and all that, I guess. Not the most exciting game to end the season on. Thank God we're in the FA Trophy final, or else this would be very anticlimactic. Unless we score some goals in the second half, maybe? No. Oh no, penalty? Well, Redshaw had a penalty last game. He's not missed a penalty yet. 18 penalty taken, so he really shouldn't miss this. Have I jinxed him? No. He always blasts into the corner as well. 18 penalties for you. 34 goals this season, so it's very tough. It's making it very tough to drop him, if I'm honest. Probably should make some subs, maybe. About 60 minutes in, that's when I like to make subs. Like clockwork. Ironically, Aldershot are losing 1-0. Dover are drawing. So, Maidstone making sure they're safe. I didn't realise King's Lynn could go down as well. Again, it's incredibly unlikely their goal difference is better than No, it's worse than Maidstone's, but either way, Woking need to win by 12 goals, so can't see that happening. Anyway, who do I want to play? Who do I want to bring anyone on? I kind of want Kopzak to get some time in. Bun's been getting injured a lot recently, so I've let him have his potential maybe goodbye. Bun's still going to be here next year, so I don't really see the need in saying too much of a goodbye. He's definitely going to be here. I just don't know if he's going to be the main player. I do want to bring on Off-Fire, but who do I bring him on for? Do I give McGee a break? Let's give McGee a break, yeah. I definitely want McGee for the final. I think the final's a week away. I have noticed that we seem to have lots of rest days between now and the final, which I'm not really sure about. That seems like a bad idea. It seems like we'll lose a lot of sharpness before the final, so I might need to change that. I kind of want to take Russ off, but he's only at 7.1 and that kind of harms his rating. If you can get to 7.4 before I take him off, that'd be great, because it'd be really cool if you could, win the the average rating. I don't know who's going to win player of the season. I think I tactically voted for a player who probably wasn't going to win in the hopes that Jack Redshaw, I think, was my team's main candidate for player of the season. Just talking nonsense now. I guess that's the issue of playing a game that doesn't really mean anything. You just kind of end up chatting crap. That was a terrible header from a fire there. Typical of our corner taking abilities, though. We just don't score often. We have tall defenders who are really good at heading, but for some reason we can't score corners. So I presume it's, however I've set corners up is not very good. Can Watkins get a final assist if his York City career? The answer is no. But the similar move here, long ball up through to Redshaw, does his cheeky little chip that he loves to do. 35 goals this season. I've got to give him a contract, Hannah. That's a ridiculous amount of goals. But statistics, if you look at his stats and his star, I know the stars, you should kind of ignore them in a way, but he's a 2-star player, which I know that means he can play at this level, but he shouldn't be doing as well as he's doing, quite frankly. He just shouldn't. It does put me in a tough predicament as well for the final, because clearly Redshaw's in form. Do I play him over, the better player in Gomez? Do I play Young over Russ, even though Russ is playing really well? Tough choices for me. Being a manager's hard, isn't it? I say that as I'm winning the league with only 2 losses. But, I think I'm kind of sad in some ways that he should have scored that. I think I kind of let down a lot of the younger players on the team. Even though I've played him a lot, I feel like, particularly Casper, I feel like I've let him down. I feel like last season I built him up as, I called him my son a lot. I thought he was going to be the future of York. And as it turns out, it doesn't seem that way. He's been replaced by Galliani on the right. Buns kept hold of the left. Yeah, as we can see, what's this training? I've got a very important game soon. And we're not training apparently, we've just stopped. Let's have a look. Kennedy's back from injury. I don't think he's played a game all season. No. His contract's going out as well. And he wants to commit his future to the club, which is strange because you've not played a game all year. You've played 6 youth games all season, but he wants to commit his future to the club. I don't think that's going to happen for you, fortunately, Kieran Kennedy. Yeah, we've won that. Dover beat Aldershot. Well, didn't beat Aldershot, but they've beat Aldershot to the playoffs. I'm all over the place today. Morecambe's 10-game run comes to an end, which, didn't really change anything. Kings Lynn secured their position in the league, I guess. Congratulations to them. A brief update from the board. Very happy. Yeah, you should be happy. They're going to commence upon the final of the trophy. But yeah, doing an unbelievable job. Yeah, not much to say really. Torquay were terrible, which probably doesn't bode well for them in terms of the playoffs. Bad time not to be in form. So when is our final? That's quite far away. Damn. So do we have any training planned at all between now and the final? Or we giving up? Are we just like, stuff it, we don't need to train anymore? Have a look. We suddenly come back into training. That seems like a bad idea, if I'm honest. I feel like I'm gonna have to put on some training before now and then, because this just seems like it's very, very stupid. This just looks like we're going to lose a lot of match fitness. Anyway, that's for me to do off camera. I'll sort that when I'm in. So yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about really. It's a very anticlimactic end to the season, if I'm honest. So we'll see you next video for the FA Trophy final. Let's see if we can stay true on our course of winning every trophy in England. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.